Have you ever stood at a crossroads? One path ruled by your emotions, the other by your will? That's the moment that defines you. Because in life, there comes a time when you must choose. Will you be controlled by your feelings? Or will you take control of them? Let's be real. Feelings like fear, laziness, self-doubt, and excuses, they're seductive. They creep in silently, whispering lies. Take it easy today. You're not ready yet. There's always tomorrow. But here's the cold truth. Your feelings have zero concern for your future. They don't care about your goals, your dreams, or the life you're trying to build. And if you let them lead, they'll guide you straight into mediocrity and regret. Think about how many mornings you've woken up and said to yourself, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like studying. I don't feel like giving it my all today. But something powerful happens when you ignore those feelings and show up anyway. You win. You grow. You evolve. Muhammad Ali once said, I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. That's not just a quote, that's a blueprint for greatness. Weak emotions are fleeting, but the price of surrendering to them, that can follow you for a lifetime. Every day, feelings will lie to you. They'll tell you you're tired when you've still got energy left. They'll say you're not good enough when you're just inches away from a breakthrough. They'll coax you into comfort, into playing small, while your potential watches from the sidelines. But greatness, it's not born in ease. It's born in the fire of discomfort, of discipline, of relentless effort. When your mind screams, stop, dare to go one more step. When your body begs for rest, remind yourself why you started in the first place. Each time you override those deceptive urges, you're sculpting a version of yourself that's tougher, sharper, and more unstoppable. Success doesn't come from motivation alone. It's rooted in routine. It's built on the days you show up even when you don't feel like it. Because life won't go easy on you. It'll throw distractions at you, doubts into your head, and roadblocks in your way. But your reaction, your discipline, that's what defines your path. So what will you do when pressure hits? Will you cave in, or will you rise stronger? Will you let fleeting feelings dictate your life, or will you anchor yourself in purpose? The truth is, this journey won't be smooth. Some days you'll feel like giving up. You'll wonder if it's worth it. But remember, the pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret can last forever. Choose to endure. Choose to persist. Believe in your strength, even when the world seems uncertain. Because the ones who achieve greatness, they didn't get lucky. They fought through the fear. They silenced the noise. They kept going. And that power, that grit, it lives in you too. So the next time your emotions try to pull you off course, take a breath and ask yourself, will I let this moment of weakness steer my entire life? Or will I rise, press on, and chase the life I know I'm capable of? Show up, push through, embrace the struggle, because the version of you who refuses to quit is the one who changes everything. If you remember one thing from before, it's this: emotions lie. But discipline? Discipline tells the truth. And on the other side of discomfort lies growth, victory, and the life you were always meant to live. Want to know the real secret behind winning? It's not about how you feel. It's about what you choose to do, especially when every cell in your body says, not today. Out. A voice in your head starts whispering, you're tired. Just skip it once. This is too hard. That's when you reach for discipline, because that's the only thing strong enough to pull you through. Winners don't rely on emotions. Why? Because emotions are inconsistent. They fluctuate like waves, high and powerful one moment, then crashing into doubt the next. One day, you feel unstoppable. The next, you feel like giving up. But discipline isn't a mood. It's a mindset. Discipline doesn't care if you're motivated. It doesn't care if you're tired, frustrated, or uninspired. Discipline gets you out of bed when you'd rather hide under the covers. It pulls you forward when everything in you wants to stay still. And if you want success, if you want to become the strongest, most capable version of yourself, discipline must become your backbone, not your backup plan, not your last resort, your foundation. You don't need to feel ready to succeed. Success isn't some magical moment when everything feels right and the stars align. It's about showing up, doing the work, even when you don't want to. That's the hardest part, isn't it? The daily war between what your feelings say and what you know needs to be done. You've had those mornings. The alarm goes off. Your body feels like concrete. Your mind pleads for just a few more minutes. Every inch of you begs to stay in bed. That's the moment most people surrender. That's when they let their emotions win. But those who succeed, they rise anyway. And when you start choosing discipline in those moments, something incredible begins to happen. You build momentum, you start seeing results, and the more you act with discipline, the stronger it becomes, until it becomes a shield, a force field against weakness. Let's look at someone who embodied this perfectly, Kobe Bryant. He didn't become a legend because he always felt amazing. He became who he was because he acted, even when he didn't feel like it. He got up at 4 a.m. every single day. While the world slept, he worked. He trained through exhaustion. He practiced through injury. He pushed through the pain. Why? Because greatness doesn't care how you feel. Greatness demands consistency. It asks for sacrifice. It rewards only those who are willing to keep going, even when it hurts. Sure, giving up is easy when you're tired, but the ones who rise to the top, they're the ones who don't. They feel the pain, the doubt, the exhaustion, and still choose to show up. But let's be clear, discipline isn't just about doing the work once in a while. It's not about one heroic effort. It's about doing the work consistently. Because success is never a single moment. It's the result of 1,000 small choices, repeated relentlessly. We talked about discipline as a daily commitment, not a one-time decision. Now let's take that even deeper. Because greatness doesn't come from doing the right thing once or twice. It's not earned through flashes of effort or rare bursts of motivation. It's built, brick by brick, through consistent action, even when it's uncomfortable, even when no one else is watching. Think about it. If Kobe Bryant only pushed himself on the days he felt like it, if he only showed up when it was convenient or when the fire inside was already burning hot, would we remember his name? Would he be one of the most legendary players of all time? Of course not, because excellence lives in the grind. It grows in the unnoticed moments, the early mornings, the extra reps, the quiet choices made when no one's clapping. That's the essence of discipline. Not glamour, not perfection, but consistency. We've all had those days, the ones where everything in you wants to check out. You don't want to go to work. You don't want to hit the gym. You're tempted to skip that final task or give in to that voice saying, it's okay to quit today. But pause and ask yourself, what kind of person do you want to become? Do you want to be someone who surrenders to weakness? Someone who gives in when things get hard? Who believes the voice that says, take the easy way? Or do you want to be the person who shows up anyway? Who keeps pushing when it's difficult? Who keeps going when no one's looking? Who chooses effort over excuse? Yes, the hard road demands more. It doesn't coddle you. It stretches you. But the hard road is the one that leads somewhere real. You can't just chase your dreams when you're in the mood. You can't commit to greatness only when it feels good. Success doesn't wait for your energy levels to peak or for the world to align perfectly around you. You've got to push yourself, to show up, to do the work, to take the next step, even when your legs are shaking, even when your mind screams for a shortcut. And here's the hard truth. Shortcuts never work. They may promise speed, but they cost you growth. The path to real achievement is paved with effort, the kind you repeat day after day. It's about rising again after failure, doing the right thing when it's the last thing you feel like doing. It's about saying no to your excuses and yes to your purpose. Let's be honest, discipline is not easy. It demands effort. It requires sacrifice. It's waking up early, staying focused, and doing what must be done without waiting to feel ready. But here's the reward. When you practice discipline, you build something stronger than temporary success. You build character. You build resilience. You lay down a foundation that adversity can't shake. Think about the people you admire, the ones who've truly achieved something meaningful. What do they all have in common? It's not just talent. It's not just luck. It's discipline. They didn't wait for motivation. They didn't wait for the perfect moment. They made a decision to act, to push forward, to rise above emotion and pursue purpose. And guess what? You can do the same. The moment you decide to place discipline above feelings, the moment you stop waiting and start moving, that's when transformation begins. That's when you reclaim control over your story. That's when you stop being ruled by emotion and start becoming the author of your own destiny. Because here's the truth. Success doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't care if you're discouraged or afraid. It doesn't care if you had a bad day or a sleepless night. Success asks one question: will you show up anyway? So now you know, success doesn't care about your feelings. It only responds to action. And the question is simple: will you show up anyway? If you truly want to win, if you want to build something real with your life, you've got to stop making decisions based on emotions and start living by discipline. That's how you move forward. That's how you rise. That's how you win. So the next time the alarm goes off and your body begs for more sleep, the next time that voice in your head whispers, "Let's just skip today," you deserve a break. Remember this truth. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you choose to do. Winners don't act on feelings. Winners act on commitment. They move according to their mission, not their mood. And if you want to rise above the average, if you want to be a true outlier, then you must make one powerful decision. Choose discipline over everything. Now let me tell you something that might sting, but it's real. Weakness doesn't just show up one day and take over your life like a storm. It grows, slowly, silently, and you're the one feeding it. Every time you hit snooze, instead of standing up, every time you make an excuse instead of taking action, every time you let fear dictate your next move, you're not just pausing your progress. You're feeding your weakness. You're watering the very thing that holds you back, giving it sunlight and space in your mind. It may feel like comfort, like you're getting a little more rest, a little more ease. But beneath that surface, you're giving your fear deeper roots. You're allowing doubt to build a home in your life. And I get it. Those moments are hard. Fear shows up. Discomfort sets in. That soft voice tells you to stay safe. Stay quiet. Stay small. It offers you a trade, short-term peace in exchange for long-term growth. But hear me clearly. Comfort doesn't build champions. It doesn't build resilience. It doesn't build anything worth having. Comfort keeps you soft. It keeps you small. It keeps you exactly where you are. We live in a world that praises convenience. It tells you to find shortcuts, to avoid pain, to protect your feelings at all costs. But let me ask you, what do you really gain from that path? Be little relief today? And a lifetime of wondering what you could have been? Because when you constantly choose the easy way, you get smaller. You get weaker. You stop growing. And then you wonder why nothing changes. It's because you've been feeding the wrong voice all along. But here's the empowering truth. You have the power to stop feeding your weakness. Every time you say no to that extra hour of sleep, every time you step into fear instead of backing away, every time you keep going when quitting would be easier, you are starving that weakness. you're cutting off its supply. And at the same time, you're feeding your strength. Real strength isn't built in comfort, it's forged in fire. It's born in the days when you don't feel like it, but do it anyway. That's when something changes inside you, when you stop retreating and start advancing, when you stop listening to your doubt and start acting with determination. That's how you become strong, not just in body, but in will, in spirit, in soul. And if you look at the greatest achievers throughout history, the ones who left a legacy, who changed the world, you'll see a pattern. They weren't handed success. They didn't have it easy. They weren't immune to struggle. No, the people who rise to the top, they're not the ones who had perfect conditions. They're not the ones who avoided pain. They are the ones who endured. They kept moving when the world told them to stop. They stumbled, but they got back up. They failed and tried again. They were doubted, dismissed, rejected, but they refused to let those moments define them. They didn't let feelings write their future. They wrote it with discipline. Think about someone like Oprah Winfrey. She came from poverty. She was told she didn't belong on television. She faced rejection after rejection, battled personal traumas that could have crushed her spirit. But did she feed her weakness? Did she let those voices win? No. She chose differently. She kept going. She kept rising. She built her strength in silence, in the shadows, when no one was cheering, and quitting would have been easy. And that's the same choice you face today. Every time you take the easy way out, you're telling yourself that your dreams aren't worth the effort. You're silently reinforcing the belief that you're not strong enough to fight through discomfort. But let me tell you something you might have forgotten. You are stronger than you think. There is a fire inside of you, an untapped force waiting to be awakened. But it won't come by waiting for the perfect day or the perfect mood. It comes in the moments when everything screams, "Give up," and you whisper back, "No." It comes when you keep going, when fear shows up, when doubt takes hold, and still, you move forward. That's how you feed your strength, and that's how you starve your weakness. Because this journey isn't about perfection. It's not about having all the answers. It's about showing up, again and again, with your best effort, no matter how messy it feels. It's about refusing to be a victim of your circumstances. It's about reclaiming your life and deciding, I will rise anyway. I've seen it time and time again. People who were counted out. People who were told, you don't have what it takes, but they didn't listen. They didn't give their energy to weakness. They didn't let the world decide their worth. They put in the work, day after day, quietly, relentlessly. And when everything around them shouted, quit, they told themselves, keep going. That's how you feed your strength. Think of a bodybuilder. They don't grow by sitting still. They don't build muscle by avoiding discomfort. They get stronger by pushing through resistance, rep after rep. They break down what's weak so that something stronger can take its place. The same is true for you, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Every challenge you face is a chance to grow stronger. Every time you resist the urge to give up, you're expanding your capacity. You're building resilience. You're building confidence. You're building a foundation that can carry you through anything. But the opposite is also true. If you keep feeding your fear, if you keep giving in to excuses, to self-doubt, to your comfort zone, you're building a mindset that keeps you small, a mindset that whispers, I'm not enough. And the hard truth? No one else can fix that for you. Not your parents. Not your boss. Not a motivational video. Not even this one. Only you can make the decision. You must be the one to stop feeding your weakness and start feeding your strength. Because every successful person you look up to, they didn't get there by waiting. They didn't sit back hoping things would get easier. They took ownership of their growth. They turned pain into fuel. They turned setbacks into stepping stones. They chose discipline over comfort, over and over again. And now, that choice is yours. Every moment of fear, every flicker of doubt, Every time you think about quitting, in those critical moments, when doubt creeps in, when your body aches, when your emotions beg you to quit, that's exactly when you have a powerful choice to make. That's your opportunity to feed your strength. That's your moment to rise and say, "Not today. I'm stronger than this. I'm better than this." So let me ask you, what will you choose? Will you keep feeding the voice that holds you back, the voice that thrives on fear, on laziness, on comfort, or will you rise above it and feed your strength, one decision at a time? The truth is, every single time you show up, every time you push through the pain, every time you refuse to quit, you're shaping your future. You're building the life you've always dreamed of. You're becoming the version of yourself that the world hasn't seen yet, but desperately needs to. But it starts with one thing: the decision to starve your weakness and feed your strength. You want to know where the real battles are fought? They're not fought in arenas or stages. They're fought in the silence of your own mind, every single day. Inside you, there's a war, a constant tug-of-war between discipline and emotion, between strength and weakness, between the person you are and the person you could be. And here's the truth no one talks about. You don't need to wait for the perfect opportunity to win, because every time you choose discipline over feelings, every time you quiet that voice of self-doubt and take one more step forward, you win. Victory doesn't come when you cross the finish line. It happens long before that. In those quiet, difficult moments when no one's watching, when your muscles are burning, your mind is exhausted, and everything inside you says, "Stop." But you don't. You push. That's where the war is won. That's where your true power lives. The greatest struggle you'll face each day won't be with traffic, coworkers, or outside circumstances. It'll be with you, with the voices in your head trying to convince you to settle, to stop, to shrink. But don't get it twisted. The strongest among us, they don't have less fear. They don't feel less fatigue. They've simply learned to master their minds. They've trained themselves to ignore the noise and move anyway. They've learned to silence the lies, to kill off the weakness, to starve the habits that used to hold them down. And I know how real the fear feels. I know the weight that settles in your chest, the temptation to quit, to sit down, to say, "I've done enough." But that's not the voice of truth. That's weakness dressed up as comfort. And let me be clear, life doesn't reward those who retreat. It doesn't hand trophies to those who quit halfway through. Life rewards those who fight, who keep pushing forward, even when they don't feel like it. So when your emotions say, "Give up," you say, "Not today." When your mind says, "Rest," you've earned it. You dig deep and whisper, "I'm not done yet." And when you feel like you only have 50% to give, that's the moment you give 110%. Not because it's easy, but because that's where the real work begins. Right there. When you feel like breaking, but you decide to bend. When you feel like quitting, but you take one more step. That's how the life you want is built. That's how greatness is forged. Let me remind you of something you might have forgotten. Success has nothing to do with feelings. It's not about waiting for the stars to align. It's not about feeling ready, motivated, or inspired. It's about choosing to act, even when you're tired, afraid, or unsure. It's about doing the right thing, especially when it's the hardest thing. Success is not about how you feel. It's about whether you're willing to do what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it. It's about taking back control of your mind, so it works for you, not against you. Take a moment and reflect. How many times have you felt drained, exhausted, like there's nothing more to give? But here's what separates the great from the average. The best don't back down in those moments. They push forward. They rise when it would be easier to rest. They don't let their feelings dictate their future. They don't hand over the wheel to emotion. They grab the wheel themselves because they know the truth. The real battle is always internal. It's not you versus the world. It's you versus your weakest instincts. And weakness, it wears many faces. Sometimes it's fear whispering, "What if I fail?" Other times it's self-doubt quietly saying, "You're not good enough." It can be laziness, procrastination, or the endless list of excuses that seem so reasonable in the moment. But here's the catch. If you don't recognize it, if you don't fight back, it will win. It will shrink your life, shrink your potential, and keep you stuck in a version of yourself you were never meant to stay in. But there's good news. You are not powerless. You're not a puppet of your emotions. You have the power to override your weakness, to rewire how you respond. To take full command of your mind, you can choose action over hesitation, discipline over emotion, courage over comfort. So the next time that voice inside you says, "You're too tired," take it easy. Just quit. You say, "No, not today." And when your body starts to slow down, when fatigue crawls into your bones and your motivation disappears, that's when you dig deeper, that's when you push harder, that's when you give more, even when it feels like there's nothing left to give. Because when you keep showing up, when you keep doing the work despite the resistance, that's when the real transformation begins. Let's be clear. The life you dream of, it's not hiding in your comfort zone. It's not waiting at the end of the easy path. It's not sitting quietly in the shadows of your fear. No. The life you want is on the other side of your weakness. It's behind your fear, beyond your doubt. And the only way to get there, you have to kill those weak feelings. You have to stop letting them sit at the table of your decisions. You have to stop letting fear write your story. You have to take the pen back, today. You say you want success. You say you want to achieve your goals. You want to live a life of purpose, of freedom, of fulfillment? Then it starts here. Get out of your own way. Stop waiting for your feelings to give you permission. Stop letting your emotions hold you hostage. When your mind says, "You can't," you say, "Watch me." When your emotions say, "Stop," you say, "Keep going." When everything inside tells you to give up, you say, "Not today, not ever." Because now is the moment for a decision that will shape everything that comes next. You must decide that you will no longer let weak feelings rule your life, that no matter how you feel, you will show up. You will give your best, because you owe it to yourself. You owe it to the life you've imagined, and you owe it to the world. To become everything you were created to be. So go out there. Show up for your dreams, not just on the easy days, but especially on the hard ones. Because this journey, this battle between who you are and who you could be, it's yours to win. Take control of your mind. Silence the weak voices and turn those emotions, those doubts, that fear, that pain, into fuel for your success. Because yes, the battle is real, but it's also yours to conquer. And if you remember nothing else from this message, remember this. Pain is the pathway. Let me say that again. Pain is the pathway. Weakness wants to run from pain. It wants comfort. It wants the shortcut. It wants to stay in the warm, safe zone where there's no risk and no resistance. But you and I both know that's not where growth lives. Pain is the place where transformation happens. Pain is the teacher that reveals what you're really made of. Pain is the cost of leveling up. Think about it. Your muscles don't grow when you stay comfortable. They grow when they're broken down, when they're stretched, torn, and rebuilt. They grow when you push past your limit, not when you avoid it. You don't walk into the gym and grow stronger by lifting what's easy. You grow by embracing the burn, by chasing the edge, by staying in the pain long enough for something new to emerge. And it's the same with your mind, your character, your discipline. They don't develop in safety. They evolve through challenge. They sharpen in the heat of resistance. But here's the truth. Pain will try to trick you. It will tell you that you've hit your limit. It will whisper, "You're done. You can't take any more. And in that moment, everything in you will want to give in, to retreat, to choose comfort, to let the struggle pass and hope things get easier on their own. But that's not the path to greatness, because comfort doesn't build you. Comfort keeps you small, comfort keeps you average, and if you're always running from discomfort, you'll never discover what you're truly capable of. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you willingly chose discomfort for the sake of your dream? When was the last time you did something that scared you, something that stretched you, tested you, demanded more than you thought you had? If you can't remember, then it's time to wake up. Greatness isn't born from the couch. It doesn't come from playing it safe. It doesn't live in the shallow end of life. Greatness is found in the fire. It's built in the moments you almost quit, but didn't. In the moments you were ready to break, but didn't. In the moments when you could have stepped back, but stepped forward instead. You want to know the difference between winners and everyone else? Winners are the ones willing to go through pain to get what they want. They're the ones who keep going when it's tough, when it's lonely, when it's thankless. They sacrifice. They embrace discomfort. They show up when no one else will. You can't build muscle by skipping leg day. You can't build mental strength by avoiding difficult conversations. You can't build your character by hiding from hard moments. You've got to show up when it hurts. You've got to push even when your mind says stop. You've got to keep going, even when your body says no more. Think about the people you admire most, the legends, the leaders, the changemakers. Did they get where they are by choosing the easy path? Absolutely not. They walked through fire. They faced rejection. They got knocked down and stood back up again and again. They didn't run from pain. They used it because they understood one simple truth. Pain is part of the process. It's not the enemy. It's the entrance. It's the forge where greatness is made, and when you're out there, chasing your dream, building your legacy, know this: there is no way around the pain, no shortcuts, no cheat codes, but there's also nothing to fear, because you don't have to avoid the pain. You don't have to be afraid of it. You can face it. You can walk through it, and on the other side, you'll find strength you never knew you had. Every time you face it, every time you go beyond what you thought was possible, you grow, you rise, you become the version of yourself that was waiting all along. And I know there are days when you feel like you can't take another step. But guess what? You can, and you will. You've already learned this truth. Pain is the pathway. And now we're standing at the moment that separates the dreamers from the doers. Because the real test doesn't show up when things are easy. It comes when the road ahead looks too long, too steep, and too uncertain. That's when it matters most. That's when you have to dig deeper than you ever have before. You've got to look yourself in the mirror, not just glance, but see yourself, and declare, I'm not quitting. I'm not backing down. I'm going to keep going. Because you're not defined by your performance on easy days. You are defined by how you show up when it's hard, when it hurts, when you're exhausted, when no one else is watching. Let me ask you something. Can you remember the last time you felt like giving up? Maybe it was a brutal day at work. Maybe it was something personal, an argument, a failure, a moment when your dream felt like it was slipping away inch by inch. That was the moment when your character was on the line. And whether you knew it or not, you were being shaped, because that's what pain does. It doesn't just test you, it molds you. When you push through those moments, when you stare the pain in the face and say, I'm still here, that's when you grow, that's when you rise, that's when you become the person you were meant to be all along. Think about every champion you admire. Think about the ones who made it to the top in sports, in business, in life. They didn't get there by tiptoeing around pain. They didn't run from it. They ran through it. They saw pain not as a punishment, but as a partner. not as something to fear, but something to use. And now it's your turn. When you face pain, when you meet discomfort, don't see it as a wall. See it as a bridge to your potential, a doorway to the version of you that's been waiting to come alive. Because pain is not your enemy. It's the catalyst, the spark, the forge. If your life has felt stagnant, if you're not being stretched, not being challenged, it might be because you've gotten too comfortable. And if that's the case, it's time to wake up. Greatness doesn't live in comfort. It lives in the struggle. It lives in the grind. It lives in the fire. So now the question is simple. What will you do? Will you run from the pain, or will you run through it? Will you let it break you, or will you let it build you? Every single time you face discomfort, you stand at a crossroad. Will you quit, or will you rise? Will you surrender, or will you use it to rise higher than you ever imagined? The choice is always yours. And let me tell you this. If you want the life you've always dreamed of, if you want to become everything you know you're capable of, then you've got to walk through the pain. No skipping steps. No waiting for someone else to carry you. No hoping that life will magically get easier. You've got to embrace the work. You've got to stare fear in the face. You've got to keep going, and not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Because this moment, the decision you make today, will shape everything. It will shape how you face the next challenge, how you respond to setbacks, how you carry yourself through every obstacle life throws your way. So hear me clearly. Kill your weak feelings. Every time doubt tries to creep in, stand taller. When fear knocks, open the door and stare it down. When comfort calls, send it straight to voicemail. It's time to stop being ruled by your emotions. It's time to stop letting your moods hold your mission hostage. Why? Because your feelings are fragile. They shift like the wind. One moment you're on fire. The next you feel frozen. That's their nature. They're fleeting. But your greatness, it isn't built on feelings. It's built on choices. And here's what you need to remember. Your spirit is not weak. Your soul wasn't built to quit. Deep down, you already know that. You've just been waiting for permission. So let this be it. Your spirit didn't come this far to surrender. Even when your body is exhausted, even when your mind is filled with doubt, your spirit remains unbroken. Because deep down, you were built for more. You were designed for greatness. And that's why today you must choose discipline over doubt, growth over comfort, purpose over excuses. This is about making a promise to yourself, a promise that no matter how hard it gets, you won't back down. A promise that you are in control, not your emotions, not fear, not fatigue. You are the one who decides what happens next. You are the one who chooses whether to retreat or to rise. You are the one who holds the pen, writing the story of your life one decision at a time. So think back. Think of the moments when life challenged you, when every part of you wanted to quit, when your heart was heavy, when your back was against the wall, and yet you kept going. That is your proof. That's your evidence. You've been strong before. You've risen before. And you can do it again. Every single time you've chosen courage over comfort, you've grown, you've stretched, you've become stronger. But the opposite is also true. Every time you let fear make your decisions, every time you let doubt pull you back, you're choosing to shrink. You're choosing to settle. But you weren't born to stay small. You weren't meant for average. You weren't put here to live quietly in the shadow of fear. You were created for impact. You were created to lead. You were created to rise. And make no mistake, greatness doesn't come without struggle. It doesn't arrive wrapped in ease. It shows up on the other side of resistance. It reveals itself to those who are willing to face the battle head-on. So today, right now, make that decision. decide to show up. Decide to keep pushing even when it hurts. Decide that no matter how long the road is or how heavy the burden feels, you will keep moving forward, because with every step you take through the pain, you're building the life you once only dreamed of. With every rep, every effort, every moment you say no to weakness and yes to growth, you're sculpting your legacy. You're not here to play small. You're not here to blend in. You're here to make your mark. And I'm telling you, your greatness is waiting. It's waiting on the other side of fear, on the other side of excuses, on the other side of that voice whispering, "You can't," but you can, and you will. If you can silence the noise, take control of your mind, and lean into the discomfort, you become unstoppable. Because here's the truth that most people never realize. Greatness isn't handed to you. It's claimed. It's not a gift. It's a decision, a choice you make, again and again. And today, this moment right here is your moment. So I'm asking you, choose it. Choose discipline. Choose power. Choose to kill your weak feelings and unleash everything you were meant to be. The world is waiting for you to rise. Your greatness is calling, and it's on the other side of this battle. So go. Stand tall. Own your strength. No more delays. No more excuses. No more hesitation. This is your time. You've got this. Thank you for showing up. Now go show the world what you're made of. If this message lit a fire in you, don't let it fade. Hit that like button to let us know it spoke to you. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today, and subscribe to Motivation Hub Rise for more powerful content that helps you rise above your limits every single day. Your journey doesn't end here. It starts now. We'll be right here with you.